but I'm going to introduce our next speaker, which is Jonne, coming from Nokia and ISOC.
This is somehow strangely in my eye, but that's okay. No, this is fine, doesn't matter. Anyways, hello, I'm Jonne Soininen. So during daytime I work for a company called Nokia. During nighttime time I do not fight crime and protect the public, but I actually I am the IETF liaison to the ICANN board. So in a way I'm representing the IETF standardization organization in matters that concern them in the ICANN board. This is really in my eye, but who cares? Anyways, what is ICANN? I don't, how many people have actually heard about ICANN? So, well, that is very good. So I'm going to repeat something that you know already. So there is a test in the end. So ICANN is basically, the name is the Internet Corporation for Assigned Names and Numbers, and what that means, it's an organization that manages internet resources for the public benefit. Practically, that means, I'll just put this in my pocket, most probably bring it home then with me. The things that it manages are domain names, IP addresses, and it also coordinates protocol parameter numbers for the IETF. Now you might be a little bit confused. What does it do with IP addresses? Because we have the RIRs, and in this region we of course have RIPE that does exactly that. ICANN is the home of IANA, which is the Internet Assigned Number Authority, which hosts the IP address, the main IP address pool, of which addresses are then given to the RIRs, who then give them to you. Let's say for IP version 4, there's not that much work for IANA to do anymore, but for IP version 6, there's hopefully more and more work, though that the blocks that are given to the RIRs are quite big, and therefore people don't have to go and back so often. Anyways, ICANN also says it's a multi-stakeholder group, which we're going to explain a little bit later as well. The main job of ICANN is managing coordinating the domain name system. So what does this mean mainly? There are different kinds of domain names. We already discussed this morning about .fi, which is a so-called country code top-level domain name, which has an organization in ICANN that concerns themselves about country code top-level domains called CCTL. It's for CCTLDs. ICANN is not really responsible for those. Those are a responsibility of the countries that own or have CCTLDs, like Finland has two, .fi and .ax. But ICANN does coordinate between the organizations, and some of the CCTLDs have decided to come to ICANN to actually coordinate between each other to write common policies and working together, coordinating the country code top-level domains. The main work is on generic top-level domains, so things like .com, .net, .org, newer ones like .info, .xxx is always a good example, and even newer ones like .Nokia, or .Ericsson, .google, .search, and so on and so on. And basically the thing is that what ICANN does policies based on which these are introduced to the root zone, so new TLDs are introduced to the root zone, and that these are managed. So for instance, there are policies that say that if you have a top-level domain name, who you can give geographic indicators, for instance, and is there some kind of ruling around that. So that is the main job of ICANN. The thing is, like I said, it's the home of IANA, which is the entity that basically does the coordination of the technical parameters for IETF. So the things that if the port that actually where most probably your web server will answer from is number 80, and that is actually within an IANA database. And it is governed by the IETF specifications, but it's stored in an IANA database where everybody can then find it. There are certain responsibilities for the DNS root zone, and then the kind of like IANA IP address block, or address blocks for IPv4 and v6. There has been a lot of work now in the last couple of years on the fact that IANA used to work under a contract with the United States government. There is now has been a process for IANA to move away from that, and this was the last bit of ICANN working with or for the US government, was this tiny contract. That has given the US government a certain say, which has been mostly theoretical. So for instance, if .fi would change their main would change their main servers, they would have to send a request to the US government, and the US government would approve that. If there is a new top-level domain introduced into the root zone, US government has to approve that. But it has been basically just clerical function. US government 2 years ago said that they are going to transfer this and transfer the contract to, or actually terminate the contract, and the responsible to will be all ICANNs. And this was just the last, like I said, just a clerical thing. However, if you have an organization like ICANN where you have about 2,000 lawyers in the same room, yes, we have been able to make this a big deal out of that, spend the 2 years on this, and spend a lot of dollars on other lawyers' fees. So things like that can get a little bit out of hand. But now we're getting to the end of that, and we're actually, I think, expecting the US government agency that is responsible for the IANA contract to come back today and say if the hoops that ICANN and the ICANN community has jumped through, if they're adequate for the US government. There will be then still possibility for Congress to intervene if they have a different say than the agency that is responsible for them. Anyways, that is what ICANN does. The question is, how does it do it? What ICANN uses is what we call a multi-stakeholder model, or has a multi-stakeholder community, which just means that different people of different backgrounds and different interests get together and work together on the policies. This is similar to what RIPE has. This is actually similar to what IETF has as well. Actually, many internet organizations work on the same premises. So this means that basically the technical community, private sector, civil society, and the public sector get together and work together. And what they do in ICANN is basically write policies that govern the domain name system. And the thing is why this is important is that there is another model that has been used in the whole telephony system, which is one that governments get together and talk to each other and make good decisions based on politics, rather than what is the basis of the internet organizations, that people make good judgment based on the needs of the internet, actually. As I'm sure that this is very interesting for every single one of you, and you just started, the one question that you have in your mind is how to get involved with this, and the exciting life of domain names and their policies. The thing is that, look no further, the next meeting is in Helsinki. I'm sorry we couldn't do that in Tampere, but well, the next time maybe, maybe not. And like we've done in very exotic places like Marrakesh, in Ghana, in Nairobi and stuff like that, but I think Tampere would be a little bit too exotic for me. The kind of like, well, let's not talk about Turku, but anyways. So the next meeting is in Helsinki, nicely right after midsummer. So, so the thing is that we almost have Helsinki for ourselves. There's another similar meeting going on during the weekend before. That's the Jehovah's Witness meeting. But I think both of these organizations have similar religious kind of like outbursts and people talk in tongues. Anyways, the thing is that ICANN is for free, so you just have to register, you show up, and you get interesting discussions about policy around the internet, a lot of interesting discussions, a lot of interesting topics, and in addition, every evening there's a cocktail reception, so which should be already actually enough for you to show up. So it goes theoretically from Monday till Thursday, but it actually already, some of the meetings start, I think, on Saturday. And so that if you're actually bored during Juhannus and you actually want to something more interesting to do, or if it rains, then you can show up in Finlandia Hall already during the weekend. Great thing. But before that, there are some, as it is an internet organization after all, there are some resources that you can use online, where you can find information about ICANN, and the www.icann.org is something that you should look at, especially if you want to register for a meeting. If you don't know how to use the internet, you can actually register also at site. So this is about ICANN. I know it's a little bit a different topic than what you're used to, but any questions?
Yes. Where is the agenda?
The agenda is on the webpage.
Yes, now, but it wasn't 3 weeks ago. Sure.
Okay, well, let me tell a story. The thing is that ICANN went through a process to look at its meetings. We used to have 3 same format meetings a year, which had, the first day was basically that a big kind of like opening speeches of very important people who didn't know anything about the internet or ICANN, but had either paid to host a meeting or happened to be ministers or something like that. And that was the first day, more or less. And then you would have all the parts of ICANN going to their silos, and then in the Friday there is a public board meeting, and that's it. The ICANN community basically worked 2 years and decided on a new meeting strategy, where the first meeting of the year is a traditional meeting, and the last meeting of the year is a traditional meeting. And this meeting in between is a so-called policy meeting, where people try to work together, which is a new concept. And let's see how that goes. I hope there are no fist fights. Well, with film, that wouldn't be bad, actually. But anyways, people work together and talk about the policies together, and the idea is that there would be cross-fertilization. As this is a new thing, and we are still kind of learning how to do the agenda for that, because the community is in charge doing the agenda, and it's not anymore the same template of agenda that we've done the past 15 years. So it has taken a little bit more time than usually, but now it's there. You just have to, let's give it as a kind of like a test to the reader how to find it. But it's on the webpage. Yes, thank you. Axel.
So, a couple of years ago, about 1,000 new top-level domains were accepted at the top level. So basically, if I either liked this change or if I disliked this change, I could voice my opinion at an ICANN meeting.
Of course.
So if I want to prevent this thing from happening again, I should definitely go, or anything like this from happening again, I should definitely go to an ICANN meeting, right?
Well, yes.
Okay.
But take into account that most probably there are people that have different ideas, and most probably you all might not be enough, but there's like-minded people. Like I said, ICANN isn't, let's see if I can go backwards. I can. No pun intended. And the thing is basically that there is a part in ICANN that is representing the end user. That's called the at large. And anybody can join that, anybody can be part of that and represent the end user. There are also other parts of that, for instance, that they are in the GNSO, which is the organization responsible for the policies for generic top-level domains. There are, for instance, groups for ISPs, so operators. There are groups for people that everybody likes, the trademark lawyers. There are groups for non-commercial entities. There are groups for businesses. So you can find your own venue to the ICANN system, and what is right for you as a person or for your company as an interested party. Either for the reasons that Axel said, that you want to prevent this from happening, or anything similar, like having new TLDs. By the way, we are going to talk about the next round now in this policy meeting, or possible next round. Or that you are interested of getting one TLD yourself for your dog or wife or something like that. Any other questions? If not, I think I've exceeded my time quite well.
No, that was brilliant. Thank you. To take such a very serious topic and make it sound like Monty Python are in town in Helsinki in June. So anybody that hasn't seen the Monty Python show on stage, come along to the ICANN and you'll get the same feeling, but it does.
You haven't seen the people, it's more like Muppets.
Okay. Well, I was already signed up until you told me there were a lot of lawyers coming, and then that was enough. Okay, so we're going to move on to Juha.